Welcome back, race fans. We're live again from Fremont Speedway for night number 2 of the Jim Ford Classic with the All-Star Circuit of Champions. For months, we've crisscrossed the heartland from the bull rings of Ohio to the high banks of Pennsylvania. We've seen last lap passes, heartbreaking mechanical failures, and moments of pure, unadulterated speed. The 2025 All-Star Circuit of Champions season has been a grueling test of man and machine, and tonight, it all comes down to this. One champion has already been crowned. Caleb Henry, with a season of spectacular drives, has locked up the driver's title, and all he has to do is take the checkered flag, or the green flag, excuse me, in qualifying tonight. But that doesn't define the strength of an entire organization, which is still on the line. The Owners' Championship is still up for grabs. Just 11 points actually separate our two contenders. In one corner, the consistent, methodical Rudzik Racing 49X of Cale Thomas, a team that has masterfully played in the points game all year long. And on the other hand, the hard-charging Racers for Life 101 with newly crowned drivers champ Caleb Henry behind the wheel. And he's a driver with nothing to lose and everything to gain for his team. Tonight, under the lights of Fremont Speedway for the Jim Ford Classic, a champion will be made. Will it be consistency or raw speed that prevails? The hunter or the hunted? There are no more second chances. This is it. I'm Russ Fritz, and I'm telling you to strap in tight because this isn't just racing, this is switching grooves. Well, this is the final battleground. On the hollowed clay of Fremont Speedway tonight, under the lights for the Jim Ford Classic, the grueling 2025 Napa All-Star Circuit of Champions. Their season is actually going to reach its dramatic, decisive conclusion. Tonight, September 13th, 2025, a year-long campaign of cross-country battles, mechanical attrition, and strategic execution will be distilled into a single A-main feature. While the Drivers' Championship has already been secured by the formidable Caleb Henry, the arguably more prestigious Owners' Championship remains fiercely contested. This title, a testament to the collective strength, consistency, and resilience of an entire organization, and that will be settled between two elite teams who have separated themselves from the pack. The protagonists in this final act are locked in a classic hunter versus hunted scenario. In the role of the hunted is the current point leader, the Rudzik Racing LLC 49X machine, piloted by the ever so skilled Cale Thomas. Their season has been a masterclass in consistency, placing them atop the standings with a slim but critical advantage heading into the final confrontation. Playing the role of the hunter is the Racers for Life Running Boxer Farms 101 entry with newly crowned drivers champion Caleb Henry at the controls. They enter the night from a position of deficit, knowing that only a superior performance will be enough to usurp the throne. The stakes are immense, and beyond the significant financial rewards associated with the championship, the title represents the ultimate validation of a team's season-long program, a mark of excellence revered throughout the pit area. The immediate prelude to this championship decider has only heightened the tension. Just last night, on this very same Fremont Speedway surface, both contenders offered a preview of their current form. In a stunning display of car control and racecraft, Caleb Henry charged from 22nd starting position to a remarkable fourth place finish, a performance that undoubtedly serves as a psychological warning shot to all of his rivals. Cale Thomas, for his part, delivered a solid and professional fifth-place run, a result that, while less spectacular, demonstrated the poise and consistency that has been the bedrock of this team's championship lead. The stage is therefore set perfectly. One team needing to maintain its steady course, the other armed with a huge momentum of dramatic surge and the freedom to attack. Adding another layer of significance to the evening is the venue itself. Fremont Speedway is not merely a neutral battleground, it is owned and operated by Rich Farmer, the director and promoter of the All-Star Circuit of Champions. This unique, actually, Rich is not the owner. I don't know why I put that in there. I meant that for Fremont Speedway. But back to it, this unique circumstance actually transforms the Jim Ford Classic from a simple finale into a showcase event for the series' new leadership. The championship is being decided on home turf, ensuring that the prestige and focus on the title fight will be at their absolute zenith. This is more than just the last race of the season. It is a symbolic culmination of the 2025 campaign, held at the epicenter of the series' revitalized identity, where a new champion will be crowned in the heart of All-Star Country. So let's get into the legacy of America's series. To fully appreciate the weight of the championship being contested tonight, one must understand the actual rich and rebellious history of the All-Star Circuit of Champions. The series, affectionately known as America's Series, holds a unique place in the annals of motorsports as the first outlaw sprint car organization of the modern era. Formed in 1970 by Bud Miller, the All-Star Circuit of Champions was actually born from a spirit of independence, creating a touring series that attracted the biggest names in the sport who sought to compete for higher purses outside the confines of traditional sanctioning bodies. The series' inaugural champion, the flamboyant West Coast driver Jan Opperman, perfectly embodied this ethos. His hippie look and aggressive driving style helped forge the outlaw image that would define the series for decades. Through its more than 50-year history, the series has been guided by a succession of dedicated stewards who have navigated it through the evolving landscape of motorsports. After Miller's initial tenure, Burt Emick took the reins in 1980, revitalizing the series and establishing it as a powerhouse in the Midwest, introducing signature events like the Ohio Sprint Speedway. Emick's leadership was followed by Guy Webb in 2002, who guided the series for over a decade before motorsports icon Tony Stewart acquired it in January of 2015. Stewart's ownership brought a new level of national prominence and media attention to the All-Star Circuit of Champions, solidifying its status as a premier national touring series for Winged 410 sprint cars. Uh, I wouldn't say it was national, but I think it was trying. But the 2025 season, however, marks the beginning of a completely new era and a significant chapter in the series' history. At the conclusion of the 2023 season, High Limit Racing, the venture co-founded by modern sprint car superstars Kyle Larson and Brad Sweet, actually acquired the All-Star Circuit of Champions from Tony Stewart. Their vision was to pivot the series from a national tour back to its foundational identity. The 2025 campaign was explicitly designed as a rejuvenated series, returning to its roots as a regional powerhouse with a schedule heavily focused on Ohio and the surrounding states of Pennsylvania, New York, Indiana, and Michigan. This strategic shift has been a return to the core principles that first made the series a success, emphasizing accessibility for regional teams and intense competition on classic Heartland tracks. Therefore, the battle between the Brunswick Racing 49 and the Racers for Life 101 is far more than just another title. It is for the inaugural championship of this entirely new era. The team that emerges victorious tonight will not only have their name etched alongside legends of the sport, but will also be remembered as the standard bearer for this revitalized vision of the All-Star Circuit of Champions. They will have to conquer a season designed to be a throwback to the series' toughest and most competitive routes. This historical context elevates the stakes, as the 2025 Owners Champion will forever be the first of the High Limit era, a unique and prestigious distinction in the storied legacy of America's series. But the anatomy of a championship, well, that's the All-Star Circuit of Champions point system. The dramatic scenarios for tonight's championship finale are actually dictated by a specific and strategically nuanced point system. Understanding the mathematical architecture of the 2025 All-Star Circuit of Champions rulebook is essential to appreciating the pressures and the opportunities facing both the 49X and 101 teams. The championship will not be won by speed alone. It will be won by the team that best navigates the unique contours of this point structure, where a single finishing position can have vastly different consequences depending on where it falls on the scale. The foundation of the championship is the points awarded for the finishing positions in the A main feature event. The system is deliberately nonlinear, designed to heavily reward premium performance while severely penalizing even minor stumbles at the highest level. At the very apex of the field, the difference is minimal. A victory earns a certain amount of points, while a runner-up structure secures a slightly less amount of points. This point difference actually ensures a fierce battle for the win and actually keeps the second place car well within striking distance. But from third place downward through the top 10, the system becomes a little predictable cascade. A third place finish isn't worth as much points as a fourth place finish, obviously, all the way down through the 10th. So I don't know. I I don't know whether I like it or not. But anyway, moving on. However, the most critical and strategical defining feature of the entire point system is the massive points cliff that exists between the 10th and 11th finishing positions. So, I again, I'm not sure I'm not going to get into it. I'll just skip ahead. But I don't know. I'm not particularly fond on the point system. But there's always room for change. But in the unlikely but possible event that both teams actually end the night with an identical number of points, the series has a clear tiebreaker protocol. The championship would be awarded to the team with the most A main feature wins throughout the season. And if a tie still exists, the tiebreaker would proceed to the number of second places, and then the number of third, and so on. This actually is a very comprehensive system, and that it actually ensures a definitive champion will be crowned based on a season's worth of performance under a point structure that places undeniable premiums on finishing at the front. Well, a tale of two seasons for both contenders. Well, the two teams vying for the Owners' Championship have arrived at this final showdown via distinctly different yet equally effective paths. Their season-long campaigns reflect contrasting philosophies in accumulating their points, setting the stage for a compelling clash of styles in the finale tonight. Rudzik Racing 49X, well, they're the consistent frontrunner. The story of the Rudzik Racing 49X is actually one of relentless and methodical consistency. Piloted by Cale Thomas, the team has built its championship lead not necessarily through a string of spectacular victories, but through a disciplined approach that has seen them actually consistently finish near the front of the pack, week in and week out. They have actually been a fixture in the top 10, minimizing mistakes and maximizing points on nights when a win might have been just out of reach. Their performance during the grueling Ohio Speed Week actually serves as a perfect microcosm of their season. While they did not actually capture a victory during the multi-race stretch, they were a constant presence at the sharp end of the field. A notable third-place finish at Waynesfield Raceway Park was a highlight, and their ability to string together strong runs against the toughest competition of the year earned them a commendable fourth place in the finale of the Speed Week owner standings. This capacity, though, to perform at a high level over a condensed and high-pressure schedule demonstrates the team's preparation and Thomas's poise. Results like their sixth-place finish at Attica Raceway Park earlier in the season further underscore their top 10 prowess. They enter the finale at Fremont not as the flashiest team, but as the one that has, to this point, executed the championship formula with the most precision, I would say, and their position at the top of the standings is a direct result of a season defined by consistency and the avoidance of catastrophic nights. But for the Racers of Life 101, the Drivers' Championship Pursuit. Well, in contrast, the Racers for Life Running Boxer Farms 101 team arrives at Fremont powered by the momentum of a championship winning driver, Kalib Henry. Their season has been characterized by the kind of front running speed that captures headlines and season driver's title was actually built on key victories that provided the large points hauls necessary to climb to the top. Among their most significant triumphs was a victory in the season's opening weekend, right here at Fremont Speedway. This early season win on the very track that will decide the owner's championship is a critical data point proving their package is well suited to the venue's unique characteristics, while their overall speed week performance actually saw them finish sixth in the standings, two positions behind their rivals. Their season has actually been punctuated by moments of sheer brilliance. None was more potent than Henry's performance just last night. His incredible drive from the 22nd starting position on the starting grid to a fourth place finish was a masterclass in aggressive yet controlled, uh, absolute stunning driving. It demonstrated not only his comfort and speed at Fremont, but also his ability to perform under immense pressure of a championship chase. It was amazing. But this dynamic actually creates a fascinating psychological asymmetry for the final race. Cale Thomas and the Reddick Racing team are in a fundamentally defensive position, tasked with protecting their hard earned lead, and their primary objective is risk mitigation. Kalib Henry, on the other hand, has already achieved the personal pinnacle of his season by securing the Drivers' Championship. This frees him from individual pressure and allows him to adopt a purely offensive mindset, focused solely on the team's objective. He can afford to take the calculated risks, trying a more aggressive line, gambling on a setup change, and that Thomas simply cannot. This freedom, combined with this proven speed at Fremont, makes the 101 team an exceptionally dangerous challenger. Well, some final showdown championship scenarios and paths to victory. Well, with the season distilled to a single race, the complex narratives and psychological pressures ultimately converge on the hard realities of mathematics. The 2025 Owners' Championship will be decided by the points awarded tonight. on their rival and easily secure the championship. This outcome perfectly illustrates the strategic importance of the points cliff and is the ideal scenario for the pursuing team. But my analysis and final outlook, well, beyond the clear mathematical framework, a host of intangible factors will play a decisive role in crowning the 2025 Owners Champion. The unique characteristics of the racetrack, the immense psychological pressure, and the critical importance of preliminary events will all combine to shape the narrative of this final high-stakes confrontation. The Fremont factor, well, Fremont Speedway is actually known as the track that action built. It's a classic Ohio bull ring that actually demands a unique combination of aggression as well as precision. Its relatively tight corners and fast straightaways reward drivers who can actually maintain momentum and are not afraid to use the full width of the racing surface. The track typically develops a distinct high line or cushion as the night progresses, which can be the fastest way around, but is also fraught with risk. A slight miscalculation can result in the contact with the outside wall and end a driver's night and their championship hopes. This dynamic will be central to the race. Cale Thomas, protecting his lead, may be inclined to run a safer, more conservative line, while Caleb Henry, needing to make up ground, will be likely to force to push the limits on the more treacherous high side. Henry's proven ability to master this track, evidenced by his win here earlier in the season and his charge to the field last night, gives the 101 team a significant strategic advantage in this regard, and I don't think they'll have any issues. But the psychological game and the mental aspect of this championship battle can actually not be overstated. For Cale Thomas and the Rudzik Racing team, the pressure is immense. Every lap will be a tightrope walk between the need to be fast enough to maintain a top 10 position and the overriding imperative to avoid a critical error. A single spin or a minor on-track incident could be catastrophic, potentially relegating the team deep in the field and costing them the entire championship. This defensive mindset can be mentally taxing and can sometimes actually lead to the very mistakes a driver is trying to avoid. Conversely, Caleb Henry is an enviable psychological position. With the Drivers' Championship already secured, he's actually, in a sense, playing with house money. His personal goals for the season have been met, and his sole focus is now on delivering a championship for his car owner, a mission that actually allows for a more liberated and aggressive approach. The knowledge that he must finish significantly ahead of his rival removes the burden of conservative strategy. His task is simple: drive as hard as possible and get to the front. His stunning 22nd to 4th performance last night was not just a display of speed, but it was a demonstration of this aggressive, pressure-free mindset in action, and it actually serves as a powerful psychological weapon heading into the night's finale. And the importance of the preliminaries tonight, well, nothing could be more important. The championship fight will actually not begin with the green flag of the A main. It will actually begin with the moment the cars roll onto the track for qualifying. The All-Star Circuit of Champions format, which actually uses points from qualifying and heat races to set the feature lineup, actually makes these preliminary events absolutely critical. A strong qualifying lap can place a driver on the front row of their heat race, giving them a prime opportunity to win the heat and earn a starting spot in the features dash event, which actually sets the first 3 rows of the A main. Starting at the front of the feature is the single most effective way to control a race and avoid the chaos of mid-pack battles. For the 49X team, a strong preliminary performance is essential to their defensive strategy. Starting in the top 6 could actually allow Cale Thomas to run a clean race and methodically manage the gap to the 101. A poor qualifying effort, however, could bury them deep in the starting grid, forcing them into the exact high-risk, high-pressure situation they actually want to avoid. For the 101 team, the preliminaries actually offer an opportunity to apply immense pressure to Thomas and the 49X team. If Henry can out-qualify Thomas and win his heat, he could seize the advantageous track position and put the onus on the 49X to respond. The battle for the starting position will be a crucial precursor to the battle for the championship itself. The key to victory for Rudzik Racing is a drama-free night. They need a solid qualifying run, a clean heat race, and a top 10 finish in the A main. If they can execute this, their consistency will be rewarded with a championship. For the Racers for Life team, the key is aggression and excellence. Kalib Henry actually must leverage his skill and psychological freedom to actually challenge for a podium finish and actually, ideally, a win, while hoping the actual immense pressure forces even a small misstep from the championship leaders. And in conclusion, well, it's going to be one race, one champion as far as the Owners' Championship. After a long and arduous season spanning 5 states and dozens of nights of intense competition, the 2025 All-Star Circuit of Champions Owners title comes down to this. One final A-main feature on the storied clay of Fremont Speedway. The 11-point margin separating the leading Rudzik Racing from the challenging Racers for Life 101 is a testament to their season-long excellence, setting up a finale where every position and every point will be critical. The unique top-heavy nature of this ASCoC point system, with its precipitous point drop-off outside the top 10, actually ensures the tension will remain at its peak right up until the final laps are complete. Tonight's race is more than just the end of a schedule. It is the ultimate test of two different championship philosophies. It pits the methodical consistency of Cale Thomas and the Rudzik Racing team against the aggressive, race-winning speed of Kalib Henry and the Racers of Life organization. It is a battle of defense versus offense, of calculated risk management versus a pressure-free pursuit of victory. But as the night unfolds, the championship narrative will be written in stages. The first chapter will be told in qualifying and the heat races, where crucial starting positions for the A main will actually be earned, and the final decisive chapter will play out over the course of the feature event, where the relative positions of the 49X and the 101 on the racetrack will actually be all that matters. For fans and observers, the key elements are actually to watch for qualifying performance, which is, the time trial that results for Thomas and Henry will actually set the initial tone for the evening and actually dictate their path to starting positions for the heat races. And also I would say their A main starting positions are actually where the two contenders will actually line up for their feature will actually be direct consequence of their preliminary efforts and a strong indicator of their respective challenges. The starting spot inside the top 10 is a near necessity for the 49X. Their on-track positioning, well, once the green flag waves on the A main, the gap between the two cars on the track will be the only statistic that actually counts. The critical threshold for the 101 is to not only get ahead of the 49X, but to put at least one and likely many more cars between them to secure the necessary point swing. Ultimately, tonight's event at Fremont Speedway is the culmination of a year's worth of dedication, strategy, and passion. By the time the final checkered flag falls, there will be no more calculations to be made and no scenarios to analyze. And only one team will have navigated the immense pressure and mathematical complexities to stand alone as the worthy 2025 All-Star Circuit of Champions Owners Champion. And that's going to do it for this episode. And remember, we bring you insane motorsports moments, professional breakdowns, and adrenaline-packed edits every single week. Whether you live for those sideways, mudslinging, dirt track sliders, or the rubber squealing, paint trading speed of NASCAR, you belong right here. Hit that subscribe button now so you never miss a finish. And until next time, keep switching grooves. I'm Russ Fritz saying race hard, stay safe, and we'll see you there.